Hey, it's Kezza, also known as Sky Loves Gory Movies, and welcome back to another edition of Top 10 Thursdays with myself, James Boss, Stephen Yarborough, which is Spider Movie Guy. I don't know what James's new name is now because he keeps on changing it every 5 minutes. Lauri Holt and Chris Kiddy, who is Horror DVD Collector 1986, and hopefully Ross is doing the list with us this week. So anyway, Chris picked out the list, and this week's list is top 10 films that defined our childhood. How can I explain about this list? It's just took me until now to do this list. And forewarned, I have 2 for 1 entry. I still got it down to 10, but I've had to put 2 in 1 entry. So these are all the movies that have defined our childhood. And 1 TV show, which is in my list, but it's an obvious one, so you guys will know what it is. I might explain what as I go along, or I might just leave it as it is, especially with the first 2 entries, because it's my number 10 list on my number 10 entry. So of course we'll start with number 10. Number 10, part 1, because there's 2 for number 10, is Don't Go in the House. Confession here. These 2 films that I'm saying for my number 10 entry are 2 films that I watched at a sleepover and still to this day can't get them out my head. Thoroughly enjoy the movies. And if there are films that I would go back to remember my childhood, it would be these, because these are 2 movies that I watched at Debbie McNally's sleepover. She's on my Facebook, she's one of my Facebook friends, and she was born 4 days before me, and that's another story. So, anyway, so Don't Go in the House is the first one. It's about a guy that goes on dates, brings the girls back to the house, and then he tortures them and gasses them to death. I'm just surprised that it wasn't on the, or is it on the Video Nasties list? I'm not too sure, but I think it was a good flick. So yeah, and the second one is Rats, but apparently there's a couple of different versions of the movie Rats. The one I remember is about these rats, and they live underground in New York City, and they come out from under the ground and eat the humans. I think it come out in, I think it was like late 80s, early 90s. I'm not really too sure, but that's the concept of what that movie is about, and I would love to own it again to recap. So that's number 10. So there's my 2 entries for number 10 out the way. Number 9, you probably think, oh, they've got a TV series with this name. No, I'm not on about the TV series with this same name. I'm on about the movie. Of course, it's The Addams Family, with Raul Julia and Angelica Houston, Christina Ricci and Christopher Lloyd. That Addams Family. You know about the story and all that. I first watched that film in 91. I was 8 years, just turned 8. Was I? No, was I 7? Yeah, I was 6 in 89, 7 in... Yeah, I think, yeah, I was just turned, just before I was 8. So, great movie. That should be on a lot of people's collection, because I was a bit of a... wasn't weird kid, but I used to like dressing up in dark clothing and stuff like that, so Yeah, still do to this day sometimes, but today I'm in light. So which brings me on to number 8. And my love for this movie definitely defined my childhood, because I was in this category many times. And of course it's The Karate Kid, played by my favourite actor, near enough my favourite actor of all time, Ralph Macchio. He's still fit though, to this day. Yeah. I was in Ralph Macchio's shoes, even though some people still think that Ralph Macchio egged on the bullies and that, but I was in Ralph Macchio's situation quite a lot when I was a child, constantly getting bullied, but for different reasons, for my weight and stuff like that. Because I was very hefty. That's what we'll say, because I'm not that hefty now. I'm skinnier now than when I was in high school, put it that way. So that's my number 8. Number 7, there's 2 names for this. The name we call it in the UK, we call it Big Man on Campus. And you guys in America and a few other places call it Hunchback of LA. Basically, it's about a guy that he's a hunchback. He's in the tower. He thinks that Kathy is being attacked, so he tries to go and rescue her, and he's getting her to go over to him, and then he ends up going somewhere, and then he's being taught everything all over again. All different words, different sounds. And then things get twisted. And right at the end, people say, look, we've got things wrong. You're a nice guy and this, that and the other. And it's like one of them sort of films where at first he doesn't get the girl and right at the end he does. So it's got that romantic bit to it, but it is a good film. Highly recommended. Number 6. Finally, a Rowdy Roddy Piper film is on this list. I watched this film so much as a child. And of course, it's Body Slam. Body Slam. Da, 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 Body Slam. Oh, I'm singing again. Yeah, it obviously stars Rowdy Roddy Piper and has guest appearances by Ric Flair, Bruno Sammartino, Freddie Blassie, and also Dirk Benedict's in it, and Afa and Sika are in it as well. So that's a good film. That definitely must defy everybody's childhood, because they all want to be like the superhero and save the day in a wrestling ring. Why not? Number 5. If you say his name 3 times, then he comes to life. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Yeah. Everybody on their list should have Beetlejuice, in my opinion. Oh, I absolutely loved it as a kid. I told you, weird and kooky kids watching Don't Go in the House, Rats and Addams Family, and now Beetlejuice. What's next? You have to find out. But you know the whole script behind Beetlejuice, so I don't have to go into it. Number 4, which may really surprise you. As you know, I absolutely love the zombie subgenre. Absolutely love it. And there's 2 movies that come to mind, but they're both the same name, so I've done the first 2 parts. Because this is what defines you as a child. I couldn't put 4 and 5 because they come out later on. of course, it's Return of the Living Dead. Return of the Living Dead. Parts 1 and 2. Great. Great movies to watch. I want to eat your brains. Still got it. Sorry. But I still got it though. Love it. Love the film. That should be at least the second one. The second one is my favourite out of them all. So that's number 4. Number 3, this should come as no surprise to everybody, but I've got to have my Elvira on the list. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Miss Cassandra Peterson herself. When that first come out, when we first got Sky back in 1989 to be precise, that was one of the first movies that come out on the Sky TV. We recorded it on tape and I constantly watched it over and over and over and over and over again. I love that film. It should be number 1, but there's 2 films that are slightly better than it. And everyone knows Elvira is one of my childhood idols anyway, so besides Bret Hitman Hart and Yvonne Di Carlo and one more person, so yeah, so that's number 3. Number 2, I just said her name, Miss Yvonne Di Carlo, and she was in a TV series called The Monsters. You guess it, you know the whole strip. Lily, Herman, Grandpa, Marilyn and Eddie. So you knew what that's all about. So yeah, which brings me on to number 1. Numero uno. You'd be thinking, oh, it's this film. No. Is it that film? No. It's my favourite Disney film of all time. And no, it's not The Little Mermaid. And it's not Beauty and the Beast, which come a close second or third. It's actually Nightmare Before Christmas. I was 9, I think, when it come out, and I've been hooked on that film ever since. Jack Skellington is my favourite character, near enough of all time, besides the others that I've mentioned before, but everyone knows how I'm obsessed with Jack Skellington. I love skulls. My tattoo there is similar to what he looks like, but I want a full one of him on my arm. I might get it covered over actually. So yeah, that's my list. So repeat 10 to 1. 10 is Don't Go in the House and Rats. 9, The Addams Family. 8, The Karate Kid. 7, Big Man on Campus, also known as Hunchback of LA. 6, Body Slam. 5, Beetlejuice. 4, Return of the Living Dead, Parts 1 and 2. 3, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. 2, The Monsters. The Monsters, not the Monsters, The Monsters. And number 1, Nightmare Before Christmas. I have no clue who's doing next week. It could be either James or Lauri that's doing it. Or maybe Ross if he decides to do it this week. So it's probably either James or Lauri, so we'll decide on our group conversation on Facebook what's happening next. So I hope you like my list, and of course I will see you all guys very soon for another edition of Top 10 Thursdays. I'm signing out now. I'm Kezza, also known as Skylar Loves Gory Movies. Please stay gory, have unpleasant dreams, and ta-ta for now.